undertow. And if I don't have a nice, strong tether on them that can handle the stretch and pull and get them back in if they got sucked into the water, I need to be able to pull them up onto shore really fast. So consider getting not just a regular leash, but also a long tether, just in case you want to give them lots of freedom. But make sure it's like waterproof and will hold up to, especially for seawater. Salt water can be really kind of damaging to your leash. So a nice waterproof long tether is a good option to have. Another thing to think about is just your environment from which you are going towards the water. I mean, out here we have some nice dog beaches. I go to Santa Barbara for the Arroyo Burro dog beach in Santa Barbara, just 5 minutes from downtown is where I generally go. There's other places you can go as well. If you're going to the beach, don't think about just the water, think about the hot sand. So you need to get shoes for your dogs so they can walk on the hot sand and the hot pavement while you're getting to the water, or when you're walking along some rocky cliffs and things like that. And there's a lot of, at the Arroyo Burro dog beach in Santa Barbara, there's a lot of like hiking rocks, like rocks right on the water that the dogs just love to climb, but they're also very jagged. So I would seriously consider getting shoes for your dog. I do that for my dogs, just to make sure that they don't get burned or cut too easily, and even ones that, especially ones that you would want that can go in the water. So you just, be prepared for that kind of thing. And even on the boat surface, you're going out on a boat, we have shoes on generally when we're in the boat, but the dogs need it too because they're going to be out in the sun for several hours. Make sure that those pads don't get burned or torn up on the boat surface, depending on what kind of boat you have. So I would seriously consider, in either case, getting some shoes that can handle being wet or dry and give some protection to your dog's feet. Another thing to seriously consider, and I have this too because I'm crazy like that, are goggles. There's a company called Doggles. There's other companies that make really nice sun protection, UV protection, eyewear for dogs that are going to be out in the sun for a long time. So that's something that, if your dog gets blinded by being out in the sun too long or gets sun damage, it's not really fun for them, and they get tired as well on the water. Remember, if you're on the water, that light reflection, just like it bothers you, can bother the dogs. It can also freak them out and make them nervous, and I'm going to talk about that shortly. But seriously, consider getting some Doggles, and make sure that your dog is comfortable wearing the shoes, the goggles or eyewear, and the jacket before you hit the water, hit the beach, because they need to be comfortable moving around in these first before you just throw them into that environment where they have other things to overcome. So, this is all stuff that you should seriously consider, and not just on the last minute. You need to kind of help them prepare for this. So let's talk about the training aspect for, going out on the water. Besides desensitizing your dogs to the equipment that they might have to wear, you need to also consider that when you go out to the water, the smell is different. Salt water, chlorine water if you're going to the pool, lake water, all smells different. And some dogs just tend to be a little more nervous right away because they're not water dogs, so it doesn't excite them like it does a Labrador Retriever necessarily. So you need to get them used to the smell, the sound of the water lapping around and crashing in on the shore, up against the boat. All those things have to be taken care of. The light reflection coming off the water, that can really scare the crap out of a dog, actually. So you need to be able to slowly introduce this dog to each of those little things before you start putting them in the water even. So you may need to, if you're going out on boat trips, you may just get them used to that equipment and get them used to the experience of being on a boat, the waves, the rocking of the boat, all those things before you even go out into the water and get them wet. Now, when it comes to teaching dogs to go into the water, easy does it is the key. I mean, you want to make sure that you're both going in the water at about the same time, or just a little bit before, and only as deep as the dog is able to handle. For instance, with Cassie, she did not like water. She just didn't like getting wet, other than just give me a bath. As long as she was on a stable ground, she was fine. But getting in water itself just really bothered her, and she wasn't afraid of a lot of things. She was a very brave dog. So for her, it was a matter of having her just run along the edge of the beach, away from the water, just outside of the parameters of the water, with her jacket on, and then slowly running back and forth. Got her involved in chasing me and playing with me, and then I would just step a little bit into the wetter sand a little bit, and then she just started learning to like be okay with it. And next thing you know, she's like waiting at the end of the pool, and then at the end of the beach shoreline there, as the tide, as the waves are crashing in. And what really got her in the deepest thing is that because she's a herding dog, she was a herding dog, she saw a pit bull and a Great Dane out deep, chest deep in the water, and they were playing with balls and stuff like that and having a good time. And she decided to take it upon herself to tell them to get their butt back on shore because it was dangerous. So she went out there and swam out there. She's like half their size. Swam out there and started barking at them to get back inside. And I released her from her job that she decided to take on for herself. And then she came back to me and she was all happy about, she did a job and she released the job on my command. And she completely forgot the fact that she was in water that she couldn't even like touch the ground in anymore. So it was a slow thing. It wasn't her first trip when she had that experience, but it was like, and she loved climbing on the rocks. We found things that she enjoyed near the water before I actually, forced her, that's in quotes, forced her to get wet in the beach. So, and eventually it became, the smell and the sound of the ocean became a very bonding thing for her as opposed to a fearful thing. So you got to let your dog let you know how quickly they can handle being in the water, and just be aware of all the different elements of the water and the experience of being out in the outdoors, and whether it's a boat or what have you. Just get them slowly used to it. It's not a good idea if you're using a pool, by the way, to just jump into the pool and expect them to come to you. Generally, that will cause a dog to panic. If they're not capable of handling, if they're already nervous about that water, they're just going to worry that you're in danger, and that's going to freak them out more. So really just sort of sit on the edge of the pool with them, have a picnic with them. They get to eat their favorite food, you eat your favorite food, and just dip your toes in there and just talk to your dog and chill with them. Keep it all very, very relaxed. I know we'd like to have that lovely experience we see in the movies all the time where the dog just gets so excited about being with you that they just jump into the pool, but it usually backfires. So if your dog's not really inclined to be in the water, this is not your best option. Don't make them think that they have to rescue you from the water and then make them more fearful about the water. So just kind of hang out and slowly toe dip until they're ready to take on a little more of the water experience. So just giving you a warning, you're going to have to take your time. Easy does it. That's just the way it's going to have to be. All right, so that's what I have to offer you as far as the tips on how to get your dog and yourself, I guess, ready for the water, particularly in life jackets, but also the dog shoes and the eyewear and the tethers and all that sort of stuff. If you want to check out more, go ahead on That Dog Training Show with Tanya Yarbrough on Facebook and check out the article that I posted there and the other articles that I post regularly. And if you ever have any questions or want to know something, you want to be part of the show in terms of like a question, just go ahead and post it or send me a message and I will be glad to answer your question on the air. So you can also find the show on iTunes as it's posted up. We'll be updating it this weekend, so you'll see everything. And for those of you who are in the Los Angeles area, I do teach group classes at Blue Collar Working Dog. You can find it at bluecollarworkingdog.com. And there'll be some new classes. Actually, this weekend on the 16th is the Pack Leadership 101 seminar. And if there's still room in it, it's a 3-hour seminar for just people. And you can check out the information on that or ask me a question through the Facebook page. And also on the 22nd, 23rd, we'll be getting new rounds of classes for basic obedience, street obedience, master distraction classes. And so if you're interested in those classes, look them up on bluecollarworkingdog.com and check it out, and you can sign up through there. And also, in the last week of September, a lot of my students have been begging me for this, and it's finally coming to fruition. September 26th, I believe, the last weekend of September, 26th and 27th, I will be opening up new classes, the CGC prep class, that's Canine Good Citizen. It is not going to include the test, but it will help you prepare for and plan on and find the hot spots for your dog to actually pass the test. So if you do your homework, you'll have a good heads up. And also the distance training. So if you want distance obedience, where you teach your dog to actually do the sits and downs and stays and all that stuff from a long distance, then that is also starting on Sundays. And then I have puppy socialization classes on Sundays opening up at the end of September. So keep an eye out for those things that are finally coming about. It might be only one class I'll be able to offer this year because of all the holidays coming up, but if you've been waiting for it, I don't want you to miss it before I don't want the class to fill up before you get a chance if you've been really dying to do this. So that's pretty much all I have to give for you this week. Be safe out there for the summer. Go out there and expose your dog to all kinds of new adventures, but do be prepared and help your dog do it little by little. So you know what I say, in the dog world, to love is to serve. So every day, give your dog little ways to serve you, and you will have, in return, serve them well. I will be talking to you next week. Bye, y'all.